Lasagna. The Fior di Latte Mozzarella. We're going to start out with 8 liters of milk. I'm going to put that in a double boiler. Bring that up to 32 degrees Celsius. Once we hit 32 degrees Celsius, I'm going to take about 1/4 of a teaspoon of Thermophile type B. Add that in, just sprinkle it over the surface and let it hydrate for about 5 minutes, and then give it a stir in. Then I'm going to let that ripen for 60 minutes, periodically stirring and trying to maintain 32 degrees. Went a little high at 33. The pH is 6.4. I've got 1/8 of a teaspoon of lipase that I've hydrated for half an hour, and I've stirred that in completely. Then added in 1.8 milliliters of calcium chloride in 60 ml distilled water, then stirred that in as well. That adds a little soluble calcium back into the mix. Also in 60 ml of distilled water, 1.5 ml of double-strength rennet. I'm going to stir that in vigorously, thoroughly for about 45 seconds to a minute tops. And vertical, horizontal, and then just let that set for 30 minutes. Do not stir it, and try to maintain that 32 degrees. And we're going to test. Got a nice little clean break there. Looks good. We're going to cut the curd into 1/2 inch square cubes, roughly. That's approximate. Now, after we get this cut done, both the horizontal first and then the vertical, just give them a little swing around. What we're going to do is give that a bit of a rest, about 5 minutes just to let the curd heal. And then do a second cut, and this we're just going to go back and forth and basically bring it into kernel-sized pieces, maybe pea-sized. And we're still around 32 degrees, and the pH is 6.3. Now we're going to heat the whole curd mass to 37 degrees Celsius over 30 minutes, and we're going to stir as we do this to prevent the curd from matting together. Now I've got a cheesecloth lined strainer, pour the entirety of the way through, and there's the curd mass. It's looking pretty good, like rice-sized at this point. Now, of course, it's sitting in its own whey, so I'm going to actually take some of the whey and put it aside. I'm going to keep 2/3 and use that to warm the curd mass during the acidification. But I'm going to take 1/3 of that, put it in a separate pot, and put that pot in the fridge. I want to chill it down so it's nice and cold. Because instead of doing a water bath later, I'm going to do a whey bath. Much better on the balls of cheese. So we're going to cover it up and periodically heat up the whey to make sure it stays between 37 and 40 degrees Celsius. And now, as I said, we're going to chill the whey in the fridge. We're also going to take some of that extra whey and make some ice cube trays and freeze them up. And we're going to have the time, because over the next few hours, we're just going to maintain that temperature as best we can. And we're trying to get the acidity between 5.0 and 5.3 pH. And I'm checking every 60 to 90 minutes roughly, and I'm getting about a 0.1 to 0.15 drop in 90 minutes. But unexpectedly, when I checked at 6.5 hours, it had already plummeted from 5.75 to 5.1, and I realized I had to work on that curd mass pretty quickly before it dropped below 5.0. So I didn't get some filming done. Apologies for that. Anyway, we hit 5.15 pH, and I took the curd mass out and started heating the whey to 85 degrees Celsius. And I took that curd mass and cut it into roughly 1-inch pieces. Doesn't have to be fully exact, but you just want some smaller pieces so they heat up nicely in that nice hot whey. There we go, all chopped up. We're going to put that into a pail or a bucket or a tray, just so you can work it. I've mixed it in with 3 grams of salt, and then I'm going to add in 85 degrees Celsius whey just to cover the curd, get it nice and soft, and then with some nice heavy-duty gloves, I'm going to massage and knead that curd into a single mass. Let the water warm it up, and then just form one nice big mass and just keep kneading it and working it together, and eventually you'll notice it forms one complete mass. At that point, you can fold it back on itself and start the stretching. I keep doing this, and remember to refresh the whey. It'll cool down quite quickly. So just keep splashing some more in there. And if you have to at times, return the cheese mass to the original pot, which is nice and hot. Anyway, once you get that all stretched out, shape it into balls. In this case, I got 5 of them. Pretty nice yield of this. I got to about just shy of a kilogram of cheese. Just a little more than 2 pounds. Now, here's my mastery. I took that chilled whey and the whey cubes. That's how I chilled the balls of cheese down. Oh, that's some good looking mozzarella. So I put it in containers of chilled whey, sealed it up, and then it's ready for use. 2 of these went to the lasagna. Oh, it keeps getting better and better. Project Lasagna. Good on ya.